Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Lumber Capital Log Yard. Today, my sister and I are running our LT70 Wood-Mizer. Big surprise there, I know. Well, we are milling for the flooring company Storybook Floors. This is all going to be white oak, beautiful logs we have here. We do have them end painted with a wax seal. You mainly just have to do this in the summertime because, as you can imagine, they dry out a lot faster with the heat, which speed drying obviously creates cracking. So in order to prevent that, we end seal the logs on both sides. You can kind of see it there. Once it dries, it can be kind of hard to tell, but we do that at least in the summertime. It's not really necessary in the winter time, which I didn't know at first, but it makes sense, right? So all of this white oak is, we took time, I don't know, it was sometime last week to do all of the logs, and it is kind of a tedious job that takes a while. And we were over there moving around our umbrella every time we had to move because it was so hot. We were just blistering sun. I see why the logs would crack under that kind of blistering sun that we had last week. So we are going to get started running the mill, but I did want to talk a little bit about a couple adjustments we had to make earlier on in the week to the mill, because our drive belt was slipping bad, and at first it wasn't really that bad, and I kind of let it go for probably longer than we should have. In order for you guys to kind of see what I might be talking about, you can definitely hear it, the difference when your drive belt is getting too loose, but it kind of sounds like it's very screechy. It's a very high-pitched squealy sound that it makes. It doesn't sound good. And it's when it's turning, but you're not like, the belt's too loose, so it's not actually turning the blade. So the wheel is starting to turn, but the drive belt's not catching it and actually turning the blade. So it makes it really easy for the blade to stall. So that was what was happening. We had these logs, and even if it was like a smaller log, I had to go so slow in order for the blade not to stall. And I got to the point where I'm like, okay, no more. We're calling up Grandpa. And he came up here. It didn't take him very long. He tightened the drive belt, which you do by opening up this part. I'll show you. You open up this part right here and you can tighten it through that. One thing I wanted to say though was after we did that, what happened was the brake, as a result of tightening up the drive belt, the brake loosened. So then the saw would just keep on going even though it was off. It would just spin and spin and spin until it slowly just slowed down and then eventually came to a stop. Now, that really freaks me out because if any kind of emergency happens, you want to know that that blade is going to stop when you tell it to. So the fact that it just kept on spinning, we're like, no. So it was a consequence of making that adjustment. He just then had to tighten up the brake, which very simple thing to do. The brake is right here. You can see, kind of reminds me of like on a bicycle, basically the same thing. And you just tighten that right there. He tightened that up quite a bit. That really loosened it doing that. So he tightened that up, and now we're good to go. This thing is working so much better than it was. I didn't realize how bad it had really gotten until he had it completely fixed. And I'm like, wow, I've been missing out for a while. It must have been, just slowly loosening, and what a difference it made tightening up that belt. Now I feel like I can go so much faster than I was before. I am cutting way faster. So that is good news, especially cutting hardwood, because that's always a little bit slower. So we are going to be having to change this. Should probably change this blade out before we get rolling again. And then we'll get started at milling up some more white oak. The main dimension that we cut for the flooring is 1.125" by 10. So a lot of this was actually clear, a lot of beautiful stuff in here. And man, that mill is just running so much better. I'm very happy about that. So Judah's up here. He got up here around 1 and he's just been stickering and weed whacking because everything's growing now. We had a really chilly spring, but I think it's finally getting to be more like summer here. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. Also, following us on Instagram for extra content. Other than that, we'll see you back here next time. Bye.